What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol AUPH for Aurinia Pharmaceutical. Now, on the left-hand side, we are looking at the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. It makes sense that I need to mention earnings were after the bell today, so let's quickly flip on our extended hours session here and just kind of see what's happening in the post-market. Certainly looks like we got a bullish reaction to the initial earnings announcement, so we'll assume for the sake of today's video that we will be opening on some sort of gap up. For round numbers sake, we'll say we'll be opening somewhere around $13. But remember, a lot can happen between now and the bell at 9:30 tomorrow morning. So please reevaluate if we're not opening on a gap up given the open tomorrow. So let's now turn our extended hours back off and focus on the daily in terms of mapping out obvious areas of support and resistance. Certainly up here, a triple top in place around $14.71. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to see. Three nice peaks in there. To the downside, where is a critical area of support? I would argue it's in here around $12.06. And as we know, we will be opening above that should this gap up hold for now around $13. Coincidentally, we're also noticing that the high of today's session, Thursday that is right around that $12 mark. So on any sort of gap fill, so if this fades off of the open and we move lower, we are looking for support to come in at this 1206 simply because of daily support, all these touches in here, and then also based on the fact that we are filling the gap underneath us. So one thing to point out, and we always do this with the gappers, is let's walk through the scenarios of how you potentially fade the gap if that's the play based on holding this gap up into the bell tomorrow. So for round numbers sake, again, let's say that we're opening around 13. The pre-market high that we have right now is basically 13.20. Again, a lot can happen between now and 9:30, but this is generally how you would think about navigating this open. If we open around 13 and we start to move higher, any failure to get to 13.20 and or above it, or if we get there and immediately come back down underneath, you're looking for a short initiated here at 13, the opening print of tomorrow's session, to start to fade and fill that gap underneath us down to $12.06 as we know, which is a critical daily support as well as the gap fill area. Now, when we get there, start to look for any signs of gap fill reversal, aka hammer stick candles, and or anything like this, dojis, question mark candles, anything that would raise the suspicion that maybe the selling is done and it's time for a reversal. That would be the area where it would happen around $12. It's also a nice round psychological mark. Now, the flip side of this coin is that we see a gap and go, of course. So in that instance, let's say we open at 13. Again, maybe there's some pre-market high at some point up above. We get there, we back off a little bit, but never come back down towards this opening print. Instead, consolidate just below. You take the breakout up and over that pre-market high to then target your next major areas of resistance from the daily time frame, which, as we've discussed, are actually quite a ways overhead. Now, sure, there's the 200 SMA on the chart, which you should pay attention to from the daily perspective, but look at how many times we've blasted through before pulling back, blasted through before pulling back, and blasted through before pulling back. So I would argue that there's not as much focus here on the 200 SMA on the daily chart. So if we do get going, look for a potential move higher. I'd argue 14 should be on your radar before we come all the way up into that ultimate target at 1471. So that's going to pretty much cap off today's analysis. Again, a lot can happen between now and 9:30, the opening bell, but you have some frameworks to use. The general concepts and theories will always apply regardless of where the open is, where the pre-market high or low is, and what direction the gap is. So if you learned anything new in today's video, let me know down below in the comments section or by simply leaving the video a thumbs up. We also have our main channel linked down below in the description. All of that being said, we wish you a green trading week.